Association of Southeast Asian Nations, more commonly known as ASEAN, is a regional intergovernmental organization that was created out of the superpower rivalry between the United States and Soviet Union. It was founded during the height of the Vietnam War by 5 countries: Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and Malaysia. ASEAN itself was created on August 8, 1967, when the foreign ministers of these 5 countries signed the ASEAN Declaration. Its main purpose was to create a common front against the spread of communism during the Cold War and promote political, economic, and social stability amidst the rising tensions in the Asia-Pacific. After the Cold War ended, 5 other countries, Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar, joined, which has a total of 10 countries in ASEAN today. In the ASEAN logo, the 10 stalks represent the 10 Southeast Asian countries bound together in friendship and solidarity. The circle, it symbolizes the unity of ASEAN. As set out in the declaration, the aims and purpose of ASEAN are the following. First, to accelerate economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region. Well, this can be done through joint endeavors in the spirit of equality and partnership in order to strengthen the foundation for a prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nations. Second, to promote regional peace and stability. Through abiding respect for justice and the rule of law in the relationship among countries of the region and adherence to the principles of UN Charter. Third, to provide assistance to each other in the form of training and research facilities. It can be in the educational, professional, technical, and administrative aspects. Fourth, to collaborate more effectively for better utilization of agriculture and industry, including the expansion of their trade, the improvement of their transportation and communication facilities, and to raise the living standards of their people. Fifth, to promote Southeast Asian studies. And lastly, to maintain a close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations with similar aims and purposes, and explore all avenues for even closer cooperation among themselves. ASEAN also is consist of 3 pillars. First, ASEAN Political Security Community, or APSC. The main objective is to bring prosperity in the region and protects the interests and well-being of ASEAN people. It also seeks to achieve an enhancement in political stability, democracy, and good governance through creating a just, democratic, and a harmonious environment wherein human rights are expectedly apparent. Second, ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC. Recognizing the importance of equitable economic development for all people, the AEC includes human resource development, information and communication technology, capacity building, poverty reduction, and improvement in quality of life. Third, ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community, or ASCC. This is adapted to realize a people-oriented, socially responsible ASEAN community with a view of achieving solidarity, unity, and a common identity, as well as building a sharing and caring society. It also emphasizes the promotion and protection of the rights and welfare of disadvantaged, vulnerable, and marginalized groups such as women, children, the elderly, persons with disabilities, and migrant workers. ASEAN is working towards a community that is politically cohesive, economically integrated, and socially responsible. Moving forward, ASEAN community also continues to provide opportunities to its citizens and ensure that improvements in their lives are sustained under a common vision and identity. All of these ASEAN objectives are apparent in their organizational motto saying, "One vision, one identity, one community." Moving forward, let us now know the importance of ASEAN in the process of globalization in terms of political, economic, and social aspects. In political aspects, ASEAN really plays an important role safeguarding the political security of its member countries. Some of the important agreements adopted by ASEAN are the Zone of Peace, Freedom, and Neutrality, the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, and the Treaty of the Southeast Asian Nuclear Weapon-Free Zone of 1995. First is the Zone of Peace, Freedom, and Neutrality, or the ZUPFUN. It was declared in Kuala Lumpur on the 27th of November 1971 by the foreign ministers of Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and a representative of the National Executive Council of Thailand. The aim of ZUPFUN is to ensure peace and political stability in Southeast Asia, with the hope that the countries of Southeast Asia would be free from colonization and intervention from powerful countries like the United States of America, Soviet Union, and China. The Treaty of CNWFZ was signed by the Ministers of Foreign Affairs from 7 ASEAN members: Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, and 3 ASEAN observer nations, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos, on December 15, 1995 in Bangkok. It aims to ensure that all members of ASEAN does not in any way possess, acquire, control, station, or transport any nuclear weapons, or to test or use it. Additionally, ASEAN played a vital role in providing aid for the refugee station in Indochina and the war in Cambodia. During mga time is ang Vietnam nag-take control over sa Cambodia. So, ASEAN also led efforts in the United Nations and other forums to oppose Vietnam's occupation of Cambodia since 1979. As a result, in 1981, nahitabo ang UN conference to discuss sa kanang war. It was attended by 93 nations which approved a final declaration na mahimo ng independent o stand-alone na country and Cambodia. As a result, in 1989, Vietnam was persuaded to withdraw from Cambodia by the efforts of ASEAN. Recently, ASEAN initiated the establishment of ASEAN Regional Forum, or ARF, aimed at building confidence among countries with security interests in the Asia-Pacific region. In terms of economic cooperation, Malaysia and other ASEAN members have gained much from this. ASEAN, being involved in the world trade market, has several important major trading partners around the world. Sulod sa tuig na 1970 to 1995, ang GDP sa ASEAN grew at an average rate of 7% every year, which led ASEAN to become the 4th largest trading entity in the world after the European Union, US, and Japan. During 1992, na-held ang 4th ASEAN Summit meeting, which they decided to establish the ASEAN Free Trade Area, or the AFTA, in the year 2008. However, the time frame was reduced from 15 members of ASEAN countries. At the same time, they strive to achieve more effective utilization of regions' agriculture and industries, expanding its trade, study and overcome problems of international commodity trade, improve its communication and infrastructure, and to raise the living standards of citizens of its member countries. But, in order to achieve all this, ASEAN has to cooperate with its member countries in the areas of industrial development, finance and banking, food, agriculture and forestry, tourism, science and technology. ASEAN has initiated cooperation in this area para ma-enhance ang competitiveness sa industry of the ASEAN region. Resource pooling and market sharing have been introduced to facilitate effective exploitation of economies of scale and the region's complementary location advantages.
Finance and banking. In December 1997, first ASEAN investors meeting was held in Phuket, Thailand. And there are two important documents signed, which is the Ministerial Understanding Finance Cooperation and the ASEAN Agreement on Customs. And at that time, MU lays down the foundation for strategic cooperation, financing, and which a customs agreement was signed to enhance ASEAN cooperation in customs activities. And so, this is the ASEAN logo with its ASEAN member countries. Of course, we are included there, like this, the Philippines. And next is the food, agriculture, and forestry. So, in 1968, a committee on food production, supply, and fishery was formed to ensure wide production and supply of basic foodstuff. ASEAN also established a food security reserve and ASEAN emergency rice reserve in 1979. So ASEAN did that because for ASEAN countries, we face some calamities like thunderstorms or like unexpected calamities like an earthquake. So for people who cannot work directly to their farms or something like, so ASEAN can distribute food reserve and rice reserve in the country that was affected. So that's the reason. So next is the tourism. So projects useful in this country are aimed at promoting the ASEAN region as a tourist destination and preserving the ASEAN cultural and environmental heritage. So over a decade, ASEAN has moved from the 12th place to rank 5th among the world's top 15 tourist destinations. So it's a good sign. ASEAN aims to be the world's top 3 destinations within the next decade, and that's a good goal. So these are the ASEAN destinations, which we are included the chocolate hills in Bohol, Philippines, and the Singaporean lion with its water, and other destinations. So the next is science and technology. So the ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology was established in 1978 with the objective of enhancing and promoting expertise and increasing human resources in science and technology. So besides this, the committee is always responsible to facilitate the transfer of technology from advanced countries to ASEAN member countries. Because without science and technology, the productivity of a country is much lesser and much later. So with this, with their ideas, countries like us Philippines can easily strive into science and technology, and with technology we can also make more advancements in our lives easier. And next is the social cooperation and support. So ASEAN has expressed great concern for social development in the member countries to ensure that the people in this region have a higher standard of living. Among the areas of concern are drug abuse and environment. So drug abuse. So concerned over the problems caused by drug abuse, ASEAN has proposed the treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts. So and training of dog handlers for narcotics detection. So ASEAN's effort to eliminate drug abuse and trafficking are grouped into four major areas. So, first is prevention. So, as you all know, prevention is better than cure, especially for those drug addicts. So, second is education. So, after being addicted, having some education is a good thing. When we learn something and be educated something. Third is rehabilitation. So, for drug addicts, this is so important so that they can overcome their past life and change it to a better one. And fourth and last is research. So through research, we can have more knowledge to solve problems easily and widely.
Talking about environmental cooperation, ASEAN cooperation in environmental issues began in 1977 when the Asian Sub-Regional Environment Program, or ASEP, initiated efforts for ASEAN members to cooperate in environmental matters. ASEAN is concerned with the problems of transboundary pollution and the various efforts that can be used in balancing environmental protection with economic growth. So there are also other forms of social cooperations besides those cooperation in the two areas of economy and social development na gitakol na sa previous reporter. And that is the cooperation of ASEAN sa mga cultural activities. So ASEAN encourages cooperation in the development of culture and information to support its scholars, writers, artists, and mass media representatives with the hope of enabling them to play an active role in fostering a sense of regional identity and fellowship. Hindi nga cooperation is nag-bring and support through a fund na ma-sponsor sa lain-lain na i-conduct na projects or activities. Some of these activities include the ASEAN Film Festival, if familiar mo and ASEAN Song Festival, which is held every year to expose the citizens of ASEAN countries to the other cultures and languages. Another, which is kabalidyo ng mga Pinoy, the Southeast Asia Games or SEA Games. Kaya kita mga Pinoy nakahatag sa na full recognition sa atong country sa pag-represent sa mga different sports or games na dili sa SEA Games. And this was established with the hope of developing cooperation and understanding among its members. Another is a Southeast Asian Ministry of Education. ASEAN also formed this SEAMOE or Southeast Asian Ministry of Education to encourage cooperation in education, science, and culture among ASEAN members. Many projects have been launched by the SEA and EO to ensure that this objective is met. The question now is, how does these different cooperations of ASEAN important in the process of globalization? With its commitment to cooperation and interconnectedness, ASEAN has all the ingredients to build its capabilities and foster greater innovation which brought its underlying members as one. Makaingon dyan ka mga dako dyan kayo influence ang ASEAN sa globalization through ating mga cooperations na among histotan sa mga political, economics, industrial, finance, laban na sa food and agriculture, old science and technology, katutanan cooperations nila. And all those cooperations, projects, and activities being implemented have brought people to be closer on one another nga makaingon dyan tanga na ay growing interdependence of the different countries or ang mga countries na members sa ASEAN. So, the ASEAN as a regional organizations have built economic, environmental, and social partnerships to one another that, as we can see, nakaka-create siya cross-border trade in terms of goods and services, technology, flows of investment, people, and above all, exchange of diverse information. In conclusion, these exchanges of different significant contributions and cooperations add up for ASEAN to step out of the sidelines onto the global stage. And ASEAN should keep investing in infrastructure that will generate real growth and shared prosperity, a growth that will continue to drive the economies of its countries. It must focus on its youth population by investing in jobs, skill building and training to the needs of both traditional technical requirements and those of the digital future. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day.